Today is Daily Cyber number 48. So what I've been hearing online is that penetration testers are starting to become not needed in the industry anymore because a lot of the systems and applications now are being automated to do what their jobs are by testing applications, testing systems, auditing them. And I want to know what your feedback is. Do you think there's still a need for penetration testers, ethical hackers? My opinion is there's always going to be some sort of need for it, and this is why I think so. And I mean, I'd love to hear your opinion. Again, being new into the industry and not really being involved deep into a company, I have kind of an outside perspective of what I'm hearing and just dealing with clients and having a business in marketing to see still so many companies are still not doing a really good job, a detailed job on cybersecurity. And then when it comes to applications, I mean, they still have to be maintained, they still have to be updated, they still have to know if they're doing the job, if they are doing the penetration testing, right? If it's providing the right results, if it's actually testing the application. And then what happens is these applications, just like antivirus, constantly have to be updated, right? It's from my understanding, it's just this chasing game, right? It's always ongoing, where what happens is viruses are coming out, and then antivirus companies are creating definitions, right, for their program to make sure you're protected. But then more viruses come out, and then they create more definitions, and it's this battle, this race of always trying to catch up. Well, how is penetration testing any different when you look at companies are coming out with new hardware, new software, and then what happens is you can see, I mean, I'll use Microsoft for example, the amount of patches that come out and updates are constantly coming up to secure their operating system. Well, if you don't have testers that are constantly testing each aspect of the operating system, well, how do you know? Right? Again, there's some things that applications might not test for. And then when you look at one of the things that learning about cybersecurity, a lot of people talk about, and I can appreciate, is that one of the most vulnerable areas when it comes to getting compromised is people. Right? People can get compromised depending on if they're setting things up properly, if they, and we talked about this before in a previous video, if they get compromised by someone on the phone, or someone through sending email, or someone with credentials or badge come in and say, look, you know what, I need to do X and here's my authority, and they're like, okay, yeah, I guess so, and all of a sudden they compromise them, right? And it might be because of lack of education from the company educating that staff member on security awareness. It might be because that person's dealing with something and just not aware at that point in time. There's many factors that someone get compromised. So doing penetration testing, I think, is still needed, right? And I think it's going to be something that's going to be needed for quite some time, because again, as we evolve with the Internet of Things and different applications, different system solutions, programming, you name it, there's always going to be need that layer of quality control and auditing and penetration testing to make sure it meets a certain standard to go out into the industry. I know from my experience and from what I'm reading and seeing, companies are not there yet where they have that layer of quality control, where they do, let's not say companies in general, but from what I've been hearing, like baby monitors, webcams, things like that, these people are not doing their due diligence in sense of saying, we've tested up to this point, we've hardened the system, we're sending out, updates right away to make sure that everything's hardened. So I feel that there's still a need for it. Now, how it looks and how it transitions in the next 5 to 10 years, it could change into more of a testing person in the sense of penetration testing. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, I'm just trying to think of testing maybe the application to make sure it runs, and then writing code, right, to make sure it's penetrating the right area. But then you got to know where it's searching for, so you still have to have the knowledge, right, as a penetration tester, of where to look for, in areas that you would logically, as a black hat hacker or someone that's compromised the system, where would you look? And from what I'm learning about with Python and programming, it's very direct. What you code in is exactly what it does. Right? It's not artificial intelligence, which we're getting there, but it's not artificial intelligence yet, where it can think, right? It can go, oh, if I was a hacker, I would go here, and if I was a hacker, I would check here, and then write the code and program itself to do that. So I think we're still a little bit away from penetration testers and ethical hackers not being needed. I think it's going to be very important. I think we're going to still need both sides of security, where you talk kind of like blue team, red team, in the sense of blue team to set up the security, do their best to do that, and then red team to try to compromise it to make sure everything is set up properly, to try to compromise. I think there's still a need for that. Right, and that's just my opinion. So I like to hear what you think. Do you think there's still a need for penetration testers? Comment below. Let me know what you think, because I really like to know. Because this is kind of the area that I'm going into: incident response, penetration testing, ethical hacking, and I'd like to know, what do you guys think? So that's it for my video. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep my videos around 5 minutes. I know that I hit the just over 6 minute mark. So that's my video for today. Again, just remember, and I'll just put it up here: software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable, and I'll see you next video.